My name is Jane Hoffman. I'm a political scientist from Cal State Northridge. Many people have questioned the Electoral College vote count that has been certified one by each state according to the state's rules and protocols. In places like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, recounts were done and there were challenges to the legal system. For example, in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin State Supreme Court voted 4-3 that they were planning to uphold the election results as stated. And Trump lost several of his challenges in many states. Tonight, we're going to bring up a historical example in 1876 when it looked like Samuel Tilden won the presidency. But after a bipartisan committee was formed, they decided after meeting 15 times that Rutherford B. Hayes should be the president after examining the 3 to 4 states that contended who actually won in their state. We will also be discussing the Nashville explosion and how the explosion of a fiber optic center may have impeded election results in Georgia. Please stay tuned as I am going to transfer now onto our radio show from Blog Talk Radio. It's called Political Gravity, and at the end of the video, I will tell you what the link is. Thank you. Here we go.
We're going to have John and Don call in, and Suzette's already on the line, so I'm already going to start my introduction. So tonight's topic, there's a lot of things going on in the news media, and also there's a few things in my personal life which I'm going to be relating. My boyfriend's daughter got COVID, and she got a blood clot that attacked her brain, and she had to get it surgically removed, and she almost died. So I'm going to be discussing the scientific effects of how serious COVID could be even for young people. Tonight we're going to be talking about how Congress must affirm the election results on January 6th. And there's some controversy going on. There's still people fighting about the results. In a statement, 11 senators led by Ted Cruz said November's election had unprecedented allegations of voter fraud, violations, and lax enforcement rules regarding election laws and voting irregularities, citing a precedent from 1877 when a bipartisan committee was formed to investigate. After both parties claimed victory in 3 states, they urged Congress to appoint a commission for an emergency 10-day audit of election returns in disputed states. So that was over 140 years ago, but now they're trying to invoke that type of committee-style reflection to determine and sort out what really went on. Once the commission is completed, individual states would evaluate the commission's finding and could convene a special legislative session to certify a change in their vote if needed. However, the 11 senators who are appealing this said that their bid to do this would be unlikely. We are not naive. We fully expect most, if not all, Democrats and perhaps a few Republicans will vote the opposite. The move is separate from that of Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, who said he also would reject the electoral results over integrity concerns. A group of Republicans in the lower chamber of Congress are also planning to contest the election results. Now, there was something thrown out of Texas in the last few days where they were going to have Mike Pence only certify certain state election results, like cherry pick which ones he wanted to be approved. I'm going to read a few more paragraphs until the other hosts call in. Don is on the line now, and I'm going to read one more paragraph by Anthony Zerker. With at least a dozen Republican senators now planning to challenge the election results in Congress, it's clear, if it wasn't already, that the party's heart continues to be with Donald Trump's effort to overturn the presidential laws. The effort may be futile given the Democratic majority of the House of Representatives. But the goal for many of these politicians is not to pull off a miraculous reversal of fortune. Instead, it is to curry favor with the Trump base. They are wagering that the road to success in the Republican Party will continue to run through Trump and his faithful, whose support could be invaluable to senators with presidential ambitions, like Ted Cruz of Texas or Josh Hawley of Missouri, or ones concerned about the future primary opposition from pro-Trump politicians. This is not the first time members of Congress dismayed by the outcome of a presidential election have objected during the largely ceremonial counting of Electoral College votes. It will, however, be the largest revolt in nearly a century and a half. It is a sign that the partisan rancor in the U.S., exacerbated by Trump's scorched earth fight to hold on to the presidency, will not fade anytime soon. What exactly will happen on January 6th? Electoral count objections that are endorsed by a member of the House of Representatives and a member of the Senate must be considered by lawmakers in a 2-hour debate followed by a vote. But for electoral votes to be rejected, a majority in both chambers must uphold the objection. The scenario is seen all but impossible since Democrats hold a majority in the House, and some Republicans in the Senate have already said they will not contest the results. Top Republicans have said the Senate's role in certifying the election is largely ceremonial. It should not be an opportunity to further provoke a lengthy debate about the results. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has already recognized Mr. Biden's victory and has asked other Republicans not to object. Utah Senator Mitt Romney, the only Republican to vote for Trump's impeachment last year, also expressed dismay at moves to overturn the election. I could never have imagined seeing these things in the greatest democracy in the world. Has ambition so eclipsed principles, said Mitt Romney? So I'm just going to stop there because it's all just pretty much conjecture at this point. But I'm going to bring the co-host in. Good evening, Suzette. How are you doing tonight?
Oops, I'm doing all right. Oops, sorry about that. It caught me off guard. I'm sorry to hear about this person's daughter. That's horrible. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, on Christmas Eve she got a blood clot and it traveled to her brain, and I guess it was a fairly large blood clot. and they had to surgically remove it, and she also had a stroke.
Well,
And she's only 16 years old, for God's sakes.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Well, yeah, I like to look for the positive in everything, and right now her age is the positive that she'll heal, but it's going to be sounds like a long road. And what an awful thing to go through. So awful.
I know, and now she can't like sleep at night. Her head hurts. Like she can't sleep on a regular pillow. And I'm going to read something that Dr. Benjamin Clark posted on my wall about COVID entering the bloodstream. But first, let's say hi to Don. Hi, Don.
Hi, Don.
Hey, Suzette. Hi, Jane. How you doing?
So, on a good note, well, I don't know if it's good or bad, but just so you know, I did not invite Albert tonight because I feel like sometimes our debate is just too argumentative.
Okay, well, we'll worry about that later. I just wanted to wish you a happy holiday.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, both you guys. So, yeah, no, you know, I don't know. He adds a lot of complex information. So,
well,
you know,
last episode wasn't too bad. The one that we had on Maurice Hilleman, and he actually brought up some good points. But I just don't want to. I just wasn't up for a lot of arguing tonight. I had 2 COVID tests today. I've been a little run down. So
you said you needed care, so I'm grateful.
Yeah, my fingers keep going numb from FedEx packaging handling, and I'm not in very good physical shape. And then my son's leaving for the Army on Monday.
On Monday?
Yeah, so I'm going to be back to I don't feel like I'm a mom now.
And that's when you get in the most trouble. I know it. No.
I've been staying out of trouble, Don. I haven't gambled in 38 days.
Well, the problem is you've been working your butt off, and you're going to fall over just from overworking.
Yeah. My Christmas job at JCPenney is over, and my other job forced me to take 4 days off till I get my COVID test. So I've only been at FedEx at night.
Yeah.
Sounds like as far as you're not being a mom, so you're taking your mind off of that with the show, but because of everything you've been through already today with the COVID test and your fingers being numb, and things are going on with your boyfriend and his daughter, that you also don't need the headache of having to stop all the cross-talking and arguing, so you just eliminated out.
Like, I just want things to be productive, and I will talk about the segment I just read about Congress, but I wanted to read a quick clip to you guys that my friend Dr. Clark, he is a bug expert at the University of Minnesota, but this is what he wrote about COVID. Common misunderstanding about COVID-19 is that it is a cardiovascular disease. Because the virus enters through pulmonary endothelium, it is assumed to be the principal disease. Many people have developed problems due to clots leading to strokes, pulmonary embolism, heart attacks, dementia, and loss of limbs because of blocked circulation. This will be a legacy of COVID-19 disorders for years to come. So he wrote that after I posted to pray for my boyfriend's daughter. So, what do you guys think of that? Have you heard it? We'll talk about that briefly, and then we'll go back to the congressional thing. Have you guys heard of any highly unusual thing besides old people dying?
Not that I can say.
Well, one of the things that I heard I heard the Pfizer vaccine gave a couple of people in Israel a real bad reaction, and I think they even stopped use for a couple hours to just check on the results. But it's something that people have always been talking about it, is the fact that there are after effects. So that's why I don't want it.
Well, I did read about someone before the vaccine came out that he was in his 40s and he died and he was in good shape. But unless I hear something really unusual on the news, I don't really follow it regarding COVID.
Okay, so she, as a result of COVID or the vaccine, that she had the reaction, the blood clot reaction?
It was COVID. Her and her mom both got COVID, and it was sudden. Like, I don't have all the hairy details, because I'm not friends with his ex-wife.
Right.
He lives in University, Colorado, and his ex-wife lives in Littleton. All I know, but I do see some things regarding Facebook, but apparently there was something wrong with her. They took her to ER Christmas Eve, and then she had to go to a children's hospital that specializes in strokes. So she had a blood clot on her brain. It had to be immediately removed. She barely survived, and it was pretty difficult.
Yeah, be sure it wasn't a reaction to the vaccine. I thought I understood you as just to COVID. So, okay, yeah, wow. No, regarding COVID, no. Some of the reactions to vaccines people have been having here and there, but just having COVID, wow, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I just haven't heard of anything that extreme, especially with a younger person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
Other than that, John should be calling in any minute because I talked to him less than an hour ago. He always pulls the stunt. But Don, when Suzette was on the line, I was mentioning a bipartisan committee that was formed in 1877 when both parties claimed victory in 3 states. So there is going to be 11 senators contesting the election results on Wednesday, but they think it's just going to be cosmetic and it's not really going to go anywhere. What do you think, Don?
No, for the most part, this is, it can be contested. They can ask Mike Pence to intervene, and he actually could if he wanted to. He could request, he already apparently has requested, what is it, 11 states? No, I'm sorry, 7 states, I believe. He asked for the contesting of the elections there, the results. So we're looking at the...
Does somebody have a radio on nearby?
Yeah, looking at a movie and movie.
Yeah, can you pull into another quiet room, Don?
No, hold on, that's better. Alrighty, anyway. So we're looking at potential contested, and if it goes to the Senate, Mike Pence has pretty much full authority to request that. But some of the, I don't believe that the senators, the pundits themselves, are saying that they just are looking for time, and I don't know what. This is pretty much just a sham in order
Well, we have discussed this before, like Joe Biden beat him by 60 to 70 electoral college votes. Now, I'm looking at a document, Don and Suzette. It says in the 44th Congress from 1875 to 1877 met for the first time to count the electoral votes. Democrat Samuel Tilden emerged from the election leading Republican Rutherford B. Hayes, and he was only 1 vote shy of the 185 needed to win. So in this case, there was only a 1 vote difference. However, returns from Louisiana, Florida, South Carolina, and Oregon remained in dispute. The Southern tallies were particularly controversial. Both Tilden and Hayes electors submitted votes from these 3 states claiming victory in a violent, confused election. So I'm pretty sure Biden won like 306 to 232 or something like that. So I think that's what kind of makes it pissy for a lot of people. Like, it's not like there was like a 15 electoral vote margin. It was like there's over 60 votes, right?
Well, yeah, and you know what's sick, and it's about these sick people who are contesting the main American tradition, law, whatever you want to call it, is that the recount, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia have had 3, and each recount, I believe, except I'm inclined to say Wisconsin. I'm not sure. No, I'm sorry.
Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, right?
Right, I believe that. Yeah.
No, Georgia counted 3 times. We've already discussed it.
Well, the thing is, 2 of the states and Georgia increased their lead by Biden. That was the sad part of this, is that this is taxpayer money going down the drain for the most revered, irreverent institutions we probably have. So, you know, this is a ploy to increase the Trump coffers. He's going to be coming up with legal fees out the Zoom. And this money is supposed to be going to the Republican Party for its other candidates. And Purdue and Loeffler apparently haven't gotten a dime. This money is all going to Trump, and he's duping his own people, and they have no clue. And
do you agree with that statement, Suzette? Or do you know anything about it?
Well, as far as where the money is going, it's going to the attorneys and investigators or whatever that Trump has hired, because anytime you contest an election, if you are the person contesting the election, then it comes out of your pocket.
You pay.
So if I contest an election, as far as I think I won, and I want a recount or I want audits or investigations, it comes out of my pocket or campaign funds or whatever, not the taxpayer. So it doesn't cost the taxpayer anything. And so that's why many people don't do it, because it costs a lot of money to do it. And so when Kerry did it, or was it Al Gore, one of those two, against Bush, it came out of his pocket too, for Florida and the hanging chads.
I didn't know that. So Bush
yeah.
had to pay out of pocket for that Florida recount?
When he requested that done, that had to come out of his pocket. Sure did.
Yeah, and Al Gore used to be rich. He only asked for 4 counties to be recounted. That was one of the things that caused him to lose.
Mm-hmm. So I know that as far as the electoral count and the 3 recounts, the 3 recounts aren't going to show anything different. You know, if they found more votes for Biden or whatever, that would be unusual, because they should remain the same, because you're not doing anything different. And so any irregularities that had taken place were already counted in that original vote. So you could count it 1,000,000 times and then it will still be the same. You have to go back to the beginning. And what has been happening is, if you've been following it, now I don't get into conspiracies as far as the Dominion machines and who owns them or whatever. But what we do know is that when they're supposed to hold the election ballots and information on USB sticks, or if you had a physical paper ballot, they're supposed to hold that for a period of 1 year before they destroy them.
State? Each state?
Yes, each state. So,
why would it be on a little, I mean, I'm kind of in the dark. Why would it be on a little USB drive?
Because they have, some states use the Dominion machines, and all the information is on the machines.
Okay.
And then they put it on and then they clear the machines, and it should be on the USB
It's just
drive.
another safeguard, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Like,
to
it's just
maintain
another
the
method of
information.
savings apart from the technology.
Yeah, to protect election integrity. So basically, the information on that USB came directly from the machine, which the machine recorded everything from the election night. And so now the machines can be cleared. Well, those
That's
USBs
interesting.
for Arizona.
By the way, Wade and John are on the line, but I'm going to wait till you're done talking. Go ahead.
Hi, Wade, John. Anyway, I believe it was Arizona and Nevada, maybe even Georgia, but I know for those two states. It turned out that, of course, the machines that were used in certain counties, because not everybody used them as far as the counties go in each state. But in those counties, it turned out that there was a break-in in one of the warehouses that kept all of that information, the machines, the USB sticks, and everything else, the laptops. And so it was broken into, and those things were stolen. So
was this recently in this election?
It was in this election, yes. And so I'll look that stuff up while you.
Well, Albert and I have brought up that documentary called Hacking Democracy, where they had so many problems with the Diebold machines. So I don't know if it's similar, but that's interesting that what you just mentioned. With that, I'll bring in the other two co-hosts. Good evening. Just a minute. Good evening, Wade. How's it going tonight?
Doing good. Hey, everybody. I'm doing all right.
I'm glad you could make it. I left you a voicemail. Did you get it?
Yeah, I saw that my phone was dead, but I'm getting it charged now.
Okay. Hi, John. Thanks for calling in after 26 minutes.
Happy New Year. Time for new plans, new things with the same old body.
Yep, we still have the same old bodies. So far we've discussed, we went into a historical contest back in 1877 when Rutherford B. Hayes was in a contest with Samuel Tilden, and they formed a bipartisan committee to re-examine 3 states that were too close to call. And then we talked about my boyfriend's daughter getting a blood clot on her brain from COVID, and we've been talking. And then we Suzette's been talking about how they preserve the vote after the election, like on a hard drive. So that's what we've been discussing so far.
Nice. Well, there was a situation also. I don't know if you had discussed the Nashville Explosion, but there's many things. Well, there's many suspicious things. One of the several things is there's videotape before the explosion, and for about 5 minutes before the explosion, there was a warning system like, evacuate the building now. You must evacuate. And it's like you don't give a notice before an explosion that people need to evacuate unless people know what's going on. So it's a video with two people outside the building hearing gunshots. I mean, heavy, like, they're like, there's a shootout in there going on. And literally,
is it kind of like the Vegas thing where it was obscure and there might be more than one actor?
Yeah, it's the same. It's almost the same scenario in the sense that the official story that's given, this guy wanted to kill himself, and he went there and he blew up this thing. It doesn't match everything around. It's like there was a shootout before the deal, and people got, and were bodies dumped. Who knows? The point is, the place is officially the AT&T building hub in Nashville that controls Georgia. So all the election stuff that was getting routed to Georgia went through that building, and they blew it up. And
what conspiracy website did you find this on? I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, you could be sarcastic if you want.
No, this is really some interesting information because there could be some kind of connection. He would have to be a plant or somebody who was an opposite like in Las Vegas. And so, this would have to be something that this could be some plausible.
That was our most listened to show ever. That Las Vegas one.
Well, right. I thought about it. It was a coincidence for the Saudi prince. So, there's just
that's what. That episode was our most listened to episode in recent years.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Anyways, you guys keep talking. I have to edit the show description already. So keep talking.
Yeah, sure. It was an AT&T building, and the fact that the information, like each city has different control centers. In others, like Verizon, is like all their calls go to a network hub, like in LA, New York, I think Seattle. AT&T is like Nashville, and different places. It's like Dallas or whatever. So each one of them is interesting because I was looking like, I was wondering why my T-Mobile reception, which I'm using here, is better than my Verizon reception. Because there's different hubs, different centers that handle this, and all the forensic information gets stored through these places. So if you want to, like if you're questioning the election results in Georgia, you blow up that building. If you want to get rid of it, evidence or alter or misdirect for LA, for Verizon, you bomb their place there. And just the way the bombing was, they say, he pulled the truck up there. It was like the Oklahoma City bombing. It's like, we had a fertilizer truck outside of the building, but the building got blown out from the inside out. It doesn't make sense. The fact that there was the ground had, like, it blew up, it blew up in such a way that you can't do it with just a truck. Like the truck's going to blow up and it's going to blow out, but it's not necessarily going to tunnel down. And what they did is they showed, like, there's two pictures where Google Earth, they have the real pictures, and then later on they edited the picture so you don't see it exposed underground tunnels. And then the next picture, hours later, it shows it was just ground, kind of glazed. Like they don't show you the tunneling that was exposed. They edited the bomb blast pictures on Google satellite. And it's like, why would they do that? It doesn't make sense. And, we get this neat little thing, this lone conspiracy suicide bomber killed it, injuring eight people, and damaging dozens of buildings. That's a convenient answer. But why did he want to bomb that building, the AT&T one? It's there's a story behind the story, is what I'm saying. Okay. It's too clean to wrap up. Yeah, this guy said, okay, end of the story, right? No. What if he's connected? Well, now who sent? Who paid? Why was it arranged? What was their incentive? What information was going to that building? So, call it conspiracy. A cop, a forensic, cold, like a CSI, crime scene investigation. You ask those questions, and when you examine all the evidence, you find one little thing. You go, "Oh, wait a second! This one piece ties to everything," and that's what they're not doing. They're just neatly sweeping the thing to the side, and that's the end of it, And I just think we need to really ask, critical thinking. Ask the questions.
I'm not opposed to having Congress debate this, but it just seems like there's a lot of weird stuff. Like, why wasn't the December one good enough when they met, the Electoral College met? Why isn't that good enough?
Because they never really examined the evidence. What they said on all these meetings is they go, we don't think that there was enough votes affected to determine, or let's just take an example. Let's say Trump lost by 50,000 votes in Georgia or something like that. And they go, we don't feel that this one incident affected more than 50,000 votes, which would swing the election of Donald Trump. Well, there's like 20 No, when someone robs a bank, you investigate it, and then you find out the total sum of the crime. And that's what they swept, all these cases are swept and under the rug. Like, it's been debunked. It hasn't been debunked. It hasn't even been investigated or analyzed. What do you think about that?
They were trying to base their premise on the 1877 bipartisan committee that actually met 15 times, and they didn't certify the vote till the end, and there were 4 states in contention, and Rutherford B. Hayes won by 1 vote. So after all those committee sections, then that other guy, Samuel Tilden, kind of got screwed because he was in the lead before the whole bipartisan committee started. And he lost to Rutherford B. Hayes by 1 vote in 1877. That's pretty sad. So maybe, but the New York Times wrote a century and a half ago that there was a great desire to witness a fair count, and curiosity was increased by the expectation that a new law would afford some diversion to the formality of the counting. They also had a lot of people observing it in Washington, D.C., and there were many eyes on this committee. Like they weren't like in a secret chamber. Everybody was watching what they were doing.
Well, what's interesting is that in history, I was always told that JFK won the election over Nixon. He actually lost to Nixon, and then later on, they went through everything. When they went to Electoral College, he won. But I'm just looking up the information on the internet. The fact is that Nixon actually had more votes. So I'm a little confused. That's like the history. The way I was told is that Kennedy won, but Chicago, basically the mob tweaked the vote, and he got there, and that's how he won. And that's because Sinatra was so close with JFK. They're trying to use Sinatra to influence him in regards to, Bobby Kennedy was really going after the mafia crime families. And JFK, after he won the election with the mob's help, he distanced himself from Sinatra. And if Sinatra wanted to, build a place, I think, next to JFK, he's like, no, you're not going to, you can't stay over at the White House. You're not going to build anything next to where I live. And I'm not going to associate with all these, mobsters that were running around. And the mob got pissed. That's when there's a lot of talk of, how much did the mob contribute to his assassination. JFK pissed off to the CIA, the FBI, the Russians, the Cubans, and the mob. So take your pick. I mean, it could have been all of the above, or a combination, or they were just doing what people wanted them dead. But the point of the election was very.
We can discuss more of the history. I also wanted to mention that during that 1877 joint session of Congress, where they picked that bipartisan committee, there were Supreme Court judges on the panel. It wasn't just, there were House members, senators, and Supreme Court justices all together making the decision. And while you guys continue to talk, give Don, Suzette, and Wade a chance, John, because one time in Congress, there was a controversy, and someone brought a pistol to the chamber and tried to shoot somebody. So I'm going to look that up while you guys are talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. The history lesson is good, but we're here today trying to figure out what's going on right in real time. And this is something that I am anticipating some kind of backlash or I don't know if you want to call it retribution, or something is going to come off in the next week. suggest I've already gotten a couple of people say that we've all got to get strapped. So get ready for whatever this may be, because in all seriousness, I don't think that these goons are going to play well with the law, and that's what bothers me, is that the law is being on both sides. Both these white men, landowners, are just destroying America. And like I said years ago, that I've listened with them or among them quite a long time, and their motto, if I can't have it, nobody will, is going to come out in the next few days.
Oh, by the way, to my point, what happened is that in Illinois, regarding Kennedy Nixon, there were rampant rumors that Chicago Mayor Richard Daley used his political machine to stuff the ballot box in Cook County. Cook County, I think
that was during the 1960 election, right?
Yes, and Democrats charged, and also down in Texas, guess who ran Texas? Lyndon B. Johnson, right? His vice president. There are the claims about the influence of Kennedy's running mate. If you read the autobiography, or not autobiographies, but just read any historical documents on Lyndon B. Johnson, he learned going up to the system in Texas how to bribe and how to win counties, like how to pay off
it's
people.
It's a well-known fact that Illinois cheated in the 60 election. They predicted that had not Illinois cheated, that Kennedy would not have won the election.
Right. Basically, if Texas and Illinois went to Nixon, he would have defeated Kennedy by 2 votes in the Electoral College. So this is for 60 years ago. So this isn't something like, oh wow, for the first time we have a controversy, and even now we're talking about 1877. This is going on all throughout history. Presidents aren't elected there.
That's what I've been saying all along. That's why I think
there's always been some cheating, like John said.
I've been saying this all along, just to give up the votes, because it happens all the time. It's time to give the government reins over to somebody else who understands that needs for transparency and to be somewhat popular. Even though we live in a fair capitalist society, somebody has to think about the little man, because the little man, small business, restaurants, they're the ones that prop up this economy. And in this next quarter, after this next quarter is going to be depressed. After this next quarter, we're going to see just where we're at. And by April, we may be so far gone that we can't get anything back. Our deficit is going to be reaching $29 trillion with a T dollars. And I don't think anybody comprehends that. And who is leading?
Suzette, do you have any comments about what they're talking about? Because in the Hacking Democracy documentary, Bush cheated in Ohio in 2004. He asked the guy running the Electoral Commission are you going to make sure that there's a smoking gun email that the Bush team sent to the Electoral Commission in Ohio? Are you going to swing the votes our way? So it happens every election. Yeah, do you have a comment, Suzette or Wade? Go ahead.
I believe it.
Yeah. I wouldn't put anything past Bush.
Well, one thing that I read that you guys might want to consider is that it's really hard for either party to win hands down these days. Like, that's why it always comes down to like 4 controversial states, because our country is so divided along the 2-party lines that it's almost impossible to win a presidential race with an affirmed success, they have to strategize before the candidate even starts beginning to consider running for office. That's how controversial it is. And there's been 3 or 4 elections in the last 20 years that's come down just to a couple votes, like the 538 votes in Florida in 2000. So there is no easy way to win a presidency in the United States in the last 20 to 25 years.
Well, that's interesting because, well, in Trump in 2016, as far as we know, anyway, I could be wrong, but as far as we know, had actually swayed Obama voters to vote for Trump. And so that, right there is, I would say, a significant change just based on what Trump was campaigning on and what Hillary was campaigning on and her political record. The people decided that's not what they wanted.
That's pretty radical for anyone who voted for Obama to vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm. Now, I found the article on Maricopa County, and the police or the FBI had raided a house in Maricopa County. There's an article that I'll have to shoot to you about that.
In Arizona, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just texted you one FBI. I think that's the article there. Maybe want to see what the article said. Was that Forbes? Did you get it?
I'll look at it. Do you want me to open it?
Yeah, because it's talking about the Maricopa investigation. They're still investigating. So apparently these people have machines and USB drives and other things.
I can read part of it after you guys make your commentary.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the link. Got the link. I'll open it. Let me just read a couple paragraphs so you guys know.
Okay.
Wade, how far do you live from Maricopa County?
I'm invited.
You're in Maricopa County?
Yep, I'm surrounded by it. I'm in it.
Oh, wow. So here's the headline. This is in Forbes, so it's not some offshoot organization. Exclusive, the FBI is investigating voter data theft in this key 2020 election battleground. On the morning of November 5th, 2020, the 2020 election hung in the balance. Arizona federal agents raided a 2-story house in Fountain Hills, Maricopa County, a county that had become a key battleground in the presidential race. The agents were looking for evidence of a cyber attack on an unnamed organization and stolen voter data. They left with 8 hard drives, 3 computers, and a bag of USB sticks. The resident of the property, a 56-year-old IT expert named Elliot Kerwin, was served a warrant. He is not yet facing charges and was unreachable for comment. There is no indication that anything other than voter information, which can be acquired for a few $100s in Arizona counties, was taken from the affected office. The warrant discovered by Forbes this week reveals investigators have been looking into a computer intrusion at an unnamed victim office, which occurred October 21st to November 4th. At the Kerwin residence, they were looking for any evidence within the seized computers that showed that they had been used to access the IT network at the office, as well as protected voter information, any indication that it had been disseminated to other people. Of the 15 county recorder offices contacted by Forbes about the investigation, only one, Maricopa County, confirmed voter data had been stolen, noted that a federal investigation was underway. The Maricopa County Recorder's Office, which is just 30-minute drive from Kerwin's home, did not confirm whether the election, what were they going to do with it? And were they paid off by somebody else to do this?
Okay, the question actually would be not so much the voter information or data, because it was rated after the election. The House was rated after the election. But more so to cover up whatever shenanigans were, done to the machine, the USB sticks, or anything else. Because if the voter information is public information that you can purchase from the county records, then that's just stupid to risk yourself being caught and serving federal time for something you could buy publicly. Now, I believe anyway.
Yeah, it looks like in that state that it is viable. Like if you pay a few $100s, you can get information.
Right. So I believe, because of all the testimony that I heard during the committees and oversight from people that were, people who were overlooking the election and poll workers and so forth, that they took those things because they were hiding whatever they had done, the information that had caused them to show Joe Biden as winner. But that's just me.
Well, that's you read the whole article. I didn't. It said there were 2.5 million registered voters in that county. So I'm sure you have a better handle of what's going on, but I'm sure they used the information. If it was in someone's private home, that's not a good sign.
No. And so I wonder how they could certify the election anyway. But that's what's going on, and so that's what's bothering us, because even though it wasn't done to Joe Biden this time, it could be somebody else next time, either from the Green Party or Democrat Party or Republican Party, for all we know. And so it's got to stop, and we got to, hold those people accountable that were responsible for any type of irregularities beyond the normal, human error type thing, which it happens.
Well, and there we go with the Green Deal. We need to, I'm talking about it in an umbrella ideology where we have got to look at going, and in terms of elections, we've got to look at going back to paper ballots. They were cumbersome in some instances, but for the most part, they were able to keep the dominions and the what was that other machine that you just mentioned a few minutes ago?
The
Diebold. Yeah, because all of those machines are invested in by partisan people. And so, the development of it. And so, those are easily compromised or can be. So if we go back to human, the actual touch, the actual fight of the ballots, and I think that would be one of the prime reasons, and plus costs would be greatly diminished in one way or another. But we've got to think about the Green New Deal as all-encompassing.
What does the Green Deal have to do with anything?
It's an encompassing retro ideology. You want to go back to your roots. We're humans. We're animals, and and I've said it millions of times. Our brains are not made to comprehend 7 trillion bits of information each second.
Well, first of all, we live in a corrupt world, and the United States is not antiseptic. Every election that's ever gone on in the world the last 200 years, no matter what country, probably has had some type of corruption.
Right, but the bottom line is that we are proud of the fewer incidents of corruption here. That's the pride of our electoral situation. Is that we
take pride in making sure the election is on the up and up.
Not only that, but the transition of power has been peaceful and non-contested. So this is an anomaly. This is the new age of everyone distrusting or questioning everything, especially these white folks. The white men are doing. There's a need to open up for other cultures to insert their information and their knowledge and their intelligence in the issues that we may have been living longer than most people in America. So it's this time to say, move over, and give somebody else an opportunity to make sure that the Democratic Republic principles continue. And when you got somebody who keeps lies and steals constantly, all the time, every word out of their voice, that's the antithesis of what we really need.
You mean Trump always doubting things?
There's only one person who lies every word out of their mouth. And that's, you have to say that's commendable because being an actor, you're always playing out of your character. And he plays out of his character as well as anyone.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no.
I don't think he lies every single time. I think that he has his distorted view of his aggrandized self guides him into motives to express himself in a way that's always defending his position.
He lies about everything. He's lied about.
Exactly.
But he doesn't always know he's lying. He doesn't always know he's lying, Don.
He's lied about his affinity to Hitler. He's lied about his relationship with
His affinity to Hitler.
He had a book, Mein Kampf, bet his whole life.
Right.
Oh, big
John, did you finish your points about? I wanted to hear a little bit more about the Tennessee
I can
thing.
keep on going.
About white people bad.
I don't really want to talk about Trump's distortions because we're talking more about the nuts and bolts about what the 11 senators are going to do on Wednesday. We've talked about Trump numerous times on the show. Everybody knows where the other person stands.
Yeah.
And talking about his personality defects isn't really going to make our show better. When I transfer the show to YouTube, nobody's going to want to listen to it.
And we're discussing the fact, because this way I wasn't just talking about something I read. That's why I produced.
Yeah, Maricopa County.
Yeah.
Look, I was wondering if John was finished on what was going on in Tennessee. Earth to John Yoder.
Yes, well, as far as with Tennessee, and I think the main thing about it is just that it's being labeled as just a random loner, and that's always an issue, just like with Las Vegas. Oh, this guy just on his own decided to barricade himself and start shooting. When Donald Trump is in town, when the Prince of Saudi Arabia is there, when events like multiple doors and weapons, and he's dealing and he's making deals with other people and getting money to. It's just not what they purported to be. It's fake. It's just it's too. It's like we argue football. And oh yeah, it was just one guy doing it. It's like 9/11 just happened the way it is, and the weapons of mass destruction. And when you start just tracking the effects of all this and where the money goes, it doesn't track well. And I don't mind people not believing. Just keep an open mind to be hypercritical. That's all. Look at this crime scene and think, does this really make sense? It doesn't make sense. It's too elaborate, too sophisticated. Why would you blow up a whole building? I'm just going to go down and blow up the TA building in San Francisco. I don't know why.
And didn't he warn people 2 hours before he did it? I thought he gave some kind of warning.
15 minutes.
Okay. So where is that guy right now, in federal custody, or is he dead?
federal property because he blew himself all over the place.
I mean, so he's dead?
Let's see.
Oh yeah, they had just made him by his DNA that was like splattered all over things, all over the building.
Yeah, if his brain is in his lap, I think he's dead.
I didn't follow the story. I was at work and I heard about it. That's it.
No problem. We got
Was he an American? Or was he a
right.
foreigner? Was he a foreigner?
Anthony Wagner, James. He, the dude that in an apartment, he had a house and he had to send it to his grandmother, whose mother, whose cousin, who's his wife. And he's just a regular old Joe from the middle of freaking
backwoods and
backwoods.
incested.
Okay, I'll read up on it because anyone listening to our show is going to think I'm from the backwoods.
You are.
No, you were working. You have an excuse.
Duluth, Minnesota is the backwoods. Who's that? Duluth,
Yes.
Minnesota is the backwoods.
It is, a photographer up here took a picture of 3 bobcats in the wild, so we are kind of in the far north.
Oh, by the way, but let me just read you like what this is what Wikipedia is telling you. On December 25th, 2020, a suicide bomber detonated a recreational vehicle, an RV bomb, in downtown Nashville, Tennessee, injuring a vehicle, damaging dozens of buildings. Okay, well, this sounds logical. It took place at 166 2nd Avenue North between Church Street and Commerce Street at 6:30 a.m., adjacent to an AT&T network hub, resulting in days-long communication service outages. Now, here's where, so a guy pulls up, has his RV, blows up a building. Witnesses reported hearing gunshots and loudspeakers on the RV, warning them to evacuate before the explosion, which was felt miles away. The FBI is leading the investigation. Oh, wow, that really eases my mind. It was determined the bomber was 62-year-old Anthony Quinn Warner, a Nashville resident, believed to have acted alone. Then they describe it. The explosion was caused by a car bomb carried in a Thor Motor Coach Chateau RV, which is parked outside the AT&T transmission building on 2nd Avenue North.
Nice.
Nice
RV.
Yeah, right. At 1:22 a.m. on December 25th. 4 to 5 hours after being parked, residents in the vicinity were awakened by what seemed to be the sound of rapid gunfire in at least 3 small bursts, followed by a computerized female voice broadcasting over this public address system. All buildings in this area must be evacuated now. If you hear this message, evacuate now. Stay clear of this vehicle. You know how to approach this vehicle. Your primary objective is to evacuate these buildings now. We're also among the messages broadcast. Now, okay.
You should have taken a page out of the Timothy McVeigh handbook.
I mean, this is like, okay, I understand, like, okay, John Yoder's going to blow up a building. So I go park the thing, I'm outside there, and then boom, it goes up. No. We got gunshots all over your leg,
in that context, John, you're going to get cut off again.
I'm just saying, that sounds like a cartoon. It reports, responding to reports of shots being fired at around 5:30 a.m. Now, what I heard from chatter is that White House intercepted this information, and they were blacked-out the bomb and wanted to shut it down, but they couldn't defuse the bomb. So there was gunfire, there was shooting up, and then they just had to let the bomb blow. So, send off some messages. But the point is, who in the heck blows up a building, killing himself with messages to stay clear of vehicle? Have you ever heard of that in the history of the world? I mean, I was 60
You know what, John? Favorite video now, and it shows they're trying to evacuate the area, but they're like not wearing their bulletproof vests or flak jackets, whatever you want to call them, and they're just like kind of taking their sweet time. And then you have two officers that are walking side by side, and you see the body cam footage in front of them. It shows the RV, and you can hear that it's saying evacuate. You know, if you're in the area, please evacuate. And they walk casually past that around the corner. One of them walks to his car that he's got parked off kind of in the distance, and then puts his flak jacket on. As he's putting it on, the bomb explodes. You hear the static on his, and his camera kind of goes, you know, wonky for a little bit, and then comes back into focus. And then you have other officers. He walks back to the area where the RV had exploded, walks across the street from where it was at, because there's a four-way stop there. Another guy walks to his vehicle and is just putting his flak jacket on, and I thought, okay, a bomb just exploded, nobody's running anywhere, or, you know, you hear chatter on the radio, but that's...
In other words, they kind of knew what was going to happen?
I honestly don't know. I'm just telling you what I saw on the video. It's on YouTube. If you just put in body cam footage from Nashville, Tennessee, and there'll be like a couple of videos that'll pop up. You want the one that's 12 minutes?
Yeah, I'm already looking at some pictures. None of the police or law enforcement or military is wearing any major protective covering.
So you're thinking if they got this call?
They were screencasting.
I don't know what it was. I'm just telling you what I saw. But if they were called to evacuate people because of a potential bomb, because you did this recording, yeah, they would take all their precautions for themselves. And, you know, with those jackets themselves, they would stand in front of the public or guard the public in case it did go off. So it would hit the flak jacket and protect the citizen or whatever, or just themselves in general. But for them to put it on afterwards, and then where they parked their cars would block the fire engines from coming in that way, so they had to go all the way around and then come in. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, wow. So if you want to see it, check out
what
that body cam.
What is this explosion called? I mean, is there a catch name for it? Just Nashville Explosion?
No, they haven't even determined for it. So I haven't seen where they have even reported what type of bomb it was.
That's what I was thinking. They should investigate what kind of bomb he used. And then they could find out more information.
They know what it is. They're just not telling the public. It possibly could be that it was a Timothy McVeigh type of explosion, but his daughter had told him in the news feed, I believe a year before, that he was building bombs in his RV. And they didn't come out to...
they didn't pay attention?
They did come out to check it out, but they said they didn't see any... They couldn't find anything. So,
And then the airspace above where the bomb had exploded, or whatever it was exploded, that airspace was no-go zone for a little while. So I thought that was interesting.
It looks pretty bad, and I'm glad only 3 people were hurt. Nobody died.
Well, that's because he gave them
Warning.
Yeah. But, you know, the thing is that was a huge explosion that did take out the ground. And my wife, you know, she was an AT&T employee, and they got wires running everywhere out of their transmission unit, everywhere, and that includes on top of the roof, and includes underground, and this very easily could have been taking out a Georgia communication system like that, system of transmission line. My question, maybe John, is who benefits? Who is this? Who would benefit at taking out the Georgia communications for? It
was 4 states that were affected.
Right.
There were 4 states.
Well, Georgia just happens then to be one of them. It doesn't necessarily have to be the target. But I was just wondering, in this conspiracy
So there were 4 southern states that were affected by that telecommunications fiber optic. John?
Did we lose
He
them?
keeps, I don't know, I think he's putting us on mute occasionally and doing other things.
Yeah, I was actually researching this Nashville Explosion. I was just seeing the AT&T building in regards to the AT&T, and then we'll put Georgia. How about Georgia? So when you link all this stuff, you go, wait a second, what this, let's see.
If someone's going to blow up a building, they should at least say why. Internet and fiber optic services were disrupted in Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, Alabama, and Georgia. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Well, then why didn't he blow it up in the state capital of Georgia? If you're going along with your particular theory.
Well, the point is that it has to go to that hub. And that's, in other words, if I want to affect, LA, Verizon, it's like you can, there's certain hubs that this information, like, let's say a sub city, like LA, let's say it affects Orange County or San Diego, or whatever, you blow up the LA office, or sometimes they don't directly link. In other words, like with your brain, your left side controls the right side, right? So you say, oh, we'll just blow up the right side. Well, no, you just blow up the left side of your brain, and it affects it. You don't want to direct link. So here's the deal. So why don't you just blow up the Dominion computer, the machines at the election center? Well, why wouldn't you? Because everyone will go, well, you're trying to cover it up. So what do? You go different layers. You go further. But that point is, why did it affect through Georgia? When you start linking things, it's subliminal. You don't have to. You don't try to be obvious, because that just creates a direct connection. And that was my whole point. It's goofy. The whole thing is goofy.
It is. Those companies overlapped actually had a conversation on the way. They were saying, one guy said, sounds like a movie.
It sounds like a conspiracy. This is the Dominion system for the election that affects the whole country. And it was going on this, 3 to 6 week rampage here of government. The whole world is affected by what America's going to do. The whole world is affected for China.
Well, why didn't he blow up the building on November 5th or 6th? Congress, the Electoral College had already certified the vote by Christmas.
Again, okay, so, hey, we just certified the vote. Boom. Oh, we just blew up the building. It's like, they're still going over the forensic, we're still going over the cyber information, right? This is stuff that they haven't even investigated. So you don't have to link it. All I'm saying is that it's an open question. And the fact is that the whole world, it's not just a mini little thing. We're talking about our whole government being controlled by China. Here's the movie 1984 just came out with Wonder Woman, and there's a Donald Trump-like character in the movie, and he's working for the Russians. Oh, wow. What a shit. Who's financing this movie?
That's not fiction.
That's reality. For half of their country, the women, 51% of the population, Wonder Woman is the empowerment that a 90-pound woman with one arm can lift a man and throw him through a building, and the man in the movie dies, right? Because all the men who die, like James Bond and John Connor and Luke Skywalker, and you just go down the line. Every male, Black Panther and Superman has to die. And it's like, why? Because it's the transgender, Baphomet that I keep talking about, right?
Well, that sounds like you made a good.
Okay, I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to play a clip about the conspiracy theory regarding this. 1 second.
video was going out. Breaking exclusive, a video from W Politics posting this proves Nashville Explosion was actually a missile strike, and the target was the AT&T NSA hardening switching facility spy hub. So stay with me as we go through each of these things that we're given, as just showing you how I go through, gather information, and I share it with you, and then I'm going to give you a conclusion of what I think is going on based on gathering this information. So if you look right there in the bottom of the screen, let me see if I can insert or draw a red pin around that area right here. Somewhere in that area. Yeah. So let me go ahead and tell you that's where it's at. We'll delete that. And we're going to push play. And you can see,
Listen, you guys.
there's a line flying in. There's like a little bit of a glow. And then there's the explosion. Very, very interesting. So let's zoom in on this so we can see it even better. Pull this up. Let's go there. You see that line right in the center of your screen? That's a line from something, and then you see just a slight glow going down, boom, and hitting, boom, explosion.
Did you guys hear that?
If I was a Republican,
He showed a video of a little tiny line that looked like a plane or something, and they think that the explosion was a missile strike. It wasn't a guy's hacked out van.
if I was a Republican, I would believe that.
Well, I actually saw the videos from And We Know. It's by a former military person, LT. That's what he goes by. And he actually did an extensive video on it, and they showed the actual, what you call, I don't know if it's Google Earth or whoever, but the basic, there's a camera at ground level, and you do see a line that goes exactly straight to the explosion, and like in the frames, you've got line, and then boom, it blows up. Why is
That's what this one was showing, but you guys couldn't see it. You could only hear it.
It's very obvious. Now, with the doctors, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it is great. Oh, and then they also show you, he circles the van, and he circles the explosion. The explosion is apart from the van. The van doesn't blow up. The ground blows up next to the van. It's just, the evidence doesn't back up the story, is all.
Well, he did. I mean, nobody goes downtown Nashville and takes their what was it, 12 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. Nobody goes into downtown any place and starts blaring downtown by Petula Clark. That means they're sick in the head. You don't freaking blare at 10 o'clock at night downtown by Petula Clark. You don't do that. You're a sick person, and you need to be hospitalized,
maybe
or you need to be meat.
the guy probably was mentally demented, but if someone had paid him to behave like that, he would have lived. Like he ended up dying.
That's called the double cross. Because they probably said, "Oh, you'll be all right. Just blow this RV up at 10:02." And then he's there like at 10:01, and they blow him up. He said, "Come on, man, no evidence." He's alone.
So anyways, Facebook had a post up by WKRN TV showing that the smoke from the explosion was from the van. And I believe Facebook blocked the video showing that it was a hairline object coming from the sky to blow things up. Just so you know. So you guys, we've been on the air an hour and 20 minutes. How much longer do you guys want to go?
Well, I mean, we're are we finished with the contestation at the election? Because that's going to be
Pretty much.
That's going to be crucial.
The basic premise is that 11 senators are going to contest hours, and then a vote will take place. But it's probably going to be handled by both chambers, like the House and the Senate. So it's never going to pass through the House because it's Democratic-run majority. But they're still going to make their case in a day or two.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about the Georgia election, is that if they're elected and they somehow this goes on, so because as I said, the extension is what they're looking for, the Republican Party. So if this goes any farther, how much more information, or will they allow the senators to even vote? You know, how is that going to work? The Senate's going to be in control of this, and Mike Pence. They're in control of this thing right now.
Well, like they said, the debate's going to go on, but the media doesn't foresee a big change. Go ahead, John, Suzette, or Wade.
Well, kind of going to that point, though, is it doesn't matter if the media is going to respond. It doesn't even matter if Congress is going to vote on it. Just the fact that you put out the information, what does it matter if the evidence is there that there was cheating? You understand what I mean? Like, if someone shot Kennedy and they find, oh, here's this pristine magic vote. We found it on the stretcher. So they carry the bleeding president into the hospital. We got, FBI, Secret Service, all this stuff all over the place. And then, about half an hour later, look, there's a bullet on the stretcher. And, it went to 3 or 4 entry places, into Kennedy, out of Kennedy. It hit Daly. I don't know. It went all over. Yeah, that's right. In Kennedy, out Kennedy, and then to Daly, and then through Daly, down to his leg or something like that. And it's pristine. And then they show it goes to one thing, it's all twisted and distorted. Some magic.
That Kennedy's Oswald conspiracy is the most ridiculous one besides Roswell and New Mexico.
So you're saying you think that there's more than one shooter, or are you saying that there was only one shooter?
I'm saying there's more than one shooter.
Right, gotta be, right? I mean, that's just logical. I can't prove you who or what. I can just tell you, looking at the evidence, that just doesn't make sense. So what I'm saying is, now we're looking here at a situation where we've got Dominion software. We got, just obviously over 1,000 affidavits.
I think Don's point is, how is this really going to change things? Even if the judge is covered.
John and the cohort don't understand. It happens all the time. Let it go.
Okay.
Its margin of error exceeds that by far, as far as the allowed mishaps or irregularities, and so it exceeds that amount that they have for elections. Because, like I said, there are things that do happen.
Don, let people talk. So what if it happens all the time? Go ahead.
I'm just saying, ask Gore and see how far that argument goes.
The reason it's valid is because you can have a world system where America is handed over to China, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. You can have George Soros, whose goal is to destroy America, who invested heavily. That's beyond debate. He put major money that you have people, swamp people, such as even like McConnell. We find out now that his ass was bought up by Dominion, or he invested, his wife was heavily invested in it. You're finding out all these deep state people that you thought were like Republicans or rhinos, and this is going to be exposed. Donald Trump, if what has happened really occurred, he could wipe out the Democratic Party, wipe out your Tammy, wipe out Joe, fake fracking Biden, and his pedophilia crackhead son, with the Chi-Com. That's going to be exposed to the whole planet.
So,
just let
stop
it go.
right there. We just got $600 from the government. Why are you so worried about us being taken over by China?
I agree with God.
Satan. What an ignorant statement is that? You don't believe in America or capitalism. You believe that we should live in Mother Russia. And that China,
No, I don't. I'm just saying that, first of all, some people are upset with the election results. But why do we always have to be so afraid of the future? Like, can't America work out their own problems?
Unfortunately,
well, that's what we're doing. I'm
just trying to be level-headed here.
You asked the question to answer it for you.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering why you think China's going to take over America. We have the best defense
we have right
in the
now.
world.
We are over 100% spending, and we're producing less. Our GDP is way down, and when you don't have enough money, you're not producing enough, and to cover your spending. Right now, we're at over 100% spending, and our GDP is dropping down.
But like Wisconsin lets some people eat at restaurants. In Minnesota, the restaurants have been closed for 2 months again. You can only take takeout. That's just ridiculous that they have to close the restaurant.
I agree.
I would like to answer the question that you asked me. There's several reasons. One, your son's going to go to the Middle East if he gets deployed, and he's going to add to the kill list of over 1 million people in the Middle East because we like to kill our boys to get gasoline money to Obama, to Clinton, and Bush. Donald Trump has taken us out of those war situations. Number two, going to the point, I go to work and every box says made in China practically, or Mexico. But the point is, there's nothing made in America. Or if you want to get a job, you can't get a job. You can't go to church. You can't go to a restaurant, and you think it matters. Donald Trump would have us in work. There's an article I posted about the Christian woman who felt she's doing the Lord's work by exposing Wuhan, and they just sentenced her to 4 years. And over 300, how many thousands of people died in America? 300,000. Now, is it all COVID? I don't know, but I can tell you that a lot of people are dead because of this thing. Certainly more than just a traditional 50 to 100,000 people. And the point is, why? Because China came from Wuhan, and she exposed it, and she got arrested for it. And you say, what's the big deal? It's a pretty big deal. The whole country shut down. We're shutting down America. We're switching a coup on our president for a puppet of a communist country, and you don't think that's a big deal? I don't know.
I didn't say it wasn't a big deal. I just asked a direct question: why do you think China's trying to overtake us?
Why do you think? Because they put them all in jail. Because they execute millions of people that stand against their regime. Because they have world domination. Because they control the South China Sea. They're building military bases on those little islands. Because they edit and picture on Google and Facebook. They own those places. So when I post a free spot, it gets shut down, and they're going to edit what the enemy is doing. They're going to control it just like they do in China. That's the answer to your question.
Okay, well, thanks for answering it. It gives me a clearer picture of what you think. Hey, you guys, I'm dipping out for a few minutes. I want everybody to finish their conclusions now. We've been on the air 90 minutes.
Wake up, Jane.
I got to go to FedEx in 2 hours.
Hey, pull your head out of your ass, Jane, you commie scum.
I'm ending the episode now due to a volatile roommate situation in California.